I can immediately feel how soft and plush the suspension feels now.
Yari, come on. Hi. Hi. It's a beautiful, hot summer day. All right, so in this video, I hope to answer the question, should you service your suspension? This is my Nukeproof Mega, my full suspension, and I have had this bike for nearly 3 years now. And in that time, I hadn't done any servicing on my fork or my shock, which is admittedly not a great idea, but that's kind of what I'm hoping to show in this video, before and after, of what it felt like before and what it feels like now. Because I just did full service on the shock and the fork. This is kind of cheating, but I put a MegNeg on my air can. So there should be a whole lot more mid-stroke support. So mid-stroke being like in here, like there should be a whole lot more support and technically small bump compliance. So I'm excited to see how this MegNeg feels. I've actually been working on this video for quite some time now. I got some footage in Bentonville of the before, of what it felt like before, and also at my folks' place in Kansas of what the front fork and the shock felt like before I did the service. So here's some footage from that. All right, getting on train. I've ridden this trail quite a bit, so it's a good baseline for me to know how my suspension feels before and after. Okay, here's the rock garden. Heels down for this. Woo! Oh yeah. Wow. Okay, that was the rock garden on train. It felt pretty good. I'm excited to see how it'll feel once I get the service kit all installed on my fork and the MegNeg. I'm really excited for the MegNeg. Let's go over to a different trail that will give me a good baseline how my suspension feels. Nice. You're looking a little stiff, but you almost cleared it.
I don't know why I'm landing like with my tire forward.
Well, you just haven't ridden in a while.
Oh,
so.
well, I'll do it next time.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to, I think we're gonna go to Dragon Scales next. Some more chunk. Let's get over to Dragon Scales. All right, heading down Dragon Scales. Chunky is all get out. That gap, that's the only one that I do on this trail, and it's nasty. It sends you right into rocks. Woo! Oh man, wow, that is a ride.
You're like,
Yeah. So what'd you think of that trail?
Are you interviewing me?
Yes, I am.
I thought it was just crazy enough for me not to crash and fly off the rails. But,
that it is. It's a fun trail. It's a lot of fun. You've got the skills for it, dude. All right, so that's a good baseline for how my suspension feels, and it feels okay. You know, I've ridden on this bike for 3 years now without doing anything to my suspension. I've not serviced my front fork, I've not serviced my shock in almost 3 years. It'll be October since I've purchased this. October of 2019 is when I bought this bike. So I think you all should be able to hear this. Listen to how it sounds right now. You hear that like clunk noise?
So yeah, what my fork felt like before, it felt stagey. And what I mean by that is when it traveled through its suspension, it would go like a little bit and kind of stick, a little bit and kind of stick, a little bit and kind of stick, and then it was smooth for the rest of its travel. It wasn't smooth through all of its travel. So, and also it was making a horrible, horrible clunking noise, as you probably could hear in that previous video. So it was definitely due for a service for sure. So my shock actually didn't feel too bad before. It would go through its travel pretty smoothly, but I will say it was pretty harsh, and that might just be because of what it is. It's an air can. It's an inexpensive Rockshox air can, relatively inexpensive. It's not like the super deluxe or anything like that. I heard that putting the MegNeg on there, the increased air volume, kind of helps with small bump compliance. So we'll see how that feels. And I suspect actually today, when I go out and ride this for the first time, that it might not feel exactly how I want it to feel. That's kind of the game with suspension. You really got to play with it. You really got to tune it for your riding style and for your weight. I am running 30% sag on the front and the rear. So it's a little bit more sag than what I ran before. What I ran before was about 25% sag, and it was pretty harsh on a lot of the stuff I ride. So I'm gonna try something new and see if it softens up the trail, makes it less harsh. Yeah. So anywho, I'm excited to see how everything feels now that everything's been serviced. So yeah, let's get back out on the trails in Bentonville and get some after.
All right, first official ride is on Choo Choo here. Boy, it feels so squishy. I have been on my hardtail for a month and a half now. So the full suspension feels so weird. All right, getting on Boo Boo. Boo Boo is a great little test to see how the suspension feels. It feels very, very plush. Feels great. Very, very squishy though. Yeah. Wow. I think I might need a little bit more air pressure in my shock. Feels a little bit too squishy. Let's see where the line, oh, well, hopefully you guys can see how the little compression band ended up. That's not too bad. I might put another 5 or 10 PSI in there. All right. This is Rim Trail. Rim Trail is another fantastic trail to test suspension on. Woo. Wow, that trail is chunky, but feels great on the full suspension. Alrighty, I made it up to Train on my Nukeproof Mega with the new feeling fork and shock on there after my service. I've done a few trails already, did Boo Boo and Rim Trail. Those are two really good trails to test out suspension, to see how suspension feels. We're gonna get on Train here in a minute. It's feeling good so far. This is how much travel I've used so far. Pretty good amount on the fork. Actually, I think my fork is dialed. It's feeling fantastic, feeling super smooth. It's traveling through its suspension very smoothly. My shock also feels amazing, but I think I'm using a bit too much travel on the smaller stuff that I've done so far. So this trail is going to be a true test to see if I bottom out the shock. There's a big drop at the end, and there's a nasty rock garden towards the end as well. That'll really, really test out the suspension. Alrighty, getting on train. Starts off with this drop here. I rode this trail before I did a service. Man, I can immediately feel how soft and plush the suspension feels now. It feels very good. Yeah, love that tabletop. It's the floater. Okay, up here is a rock garden and a drop at the end. What's up, man? Whew. Yeah. Well, that felt good. Felt very smooth, very plush. And here is where my suspension rings are. About perfect for the fork, and honestly about perfect for the shock also. I have yet to bottom it out. I haven't done any super big impacts, super big drops. I might put about 10 psi more in there, and then it'll be dialed. It feels good, it feels really squishy. But all right, so what I'm going to do now is head back to my house and give y'all my final thoughts on whether or not doing a suspension service is worth it. But I think y'all know the answer to that. Alrighty, made it back to my house, and honestly it is several weeks later. As I said earlier in the video, I have been working on this video for a long time, way too long actually. Anywho, so to answer the question on if you should service your suspension, duh, yes you should. Don't be like me, don't wait almost 3 years to service your suspension. It's not a good idea, not a good idea. And in fact, don't wait more than 1 year. I'm gonna make an effort to not wait more than 1 year to service my suspension, because the differences are incredible. Like, it is a night and day difference on how good a full service feels on the suspension. The front fork travels through all of its travel super smoothly with no hangups whatsoever. The top end feels so smooth. The mid-stroke, which is in here, feels incredible. And the small bump compliance feels incredible also. And that's all just from a service. Like, I had forgotten how good suspension can feel when it's brand new. And my MegNeg mod feels absolutely incredible. I have yet to bottom it out. It feels so good. The top end, it travels so smoothly. It feels so supple on the top end. The mid-stroke feels great. The small bump compliance feels great. One negative that's a pretty big negative with the new air volume, it kind of stinks at pedaling now. Going uphill does not feel good. Going downhill feels amazing, uphill not so much. So yeah, anywho, that answers that question on if you should service your suspension. You absolutely should. Let me know in the comments the intervals of when you guys service your suspension. Is it once a year, twice a year? Do you do it every 200 hours like Rockshox and Fox tell you to do it? I kind of doubt most people do that, but maybe some people do. Let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it if you would like the video and maybe subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.